Hi, my name's Carole. Welcome to Hummingbird Spot. This is the first of 4 videos covering my first trip outside of the United States to photograph hummingbirds to Honduras. If you haven't seen the previous episodes, click here. A lot of you were wondering, why Honduras? Well, it was a process of elimination. I was looking all over the internet trying to find bird photography tours outside of the United States, and most of the ones I found were built around doing a specific type of photography, multi-flash photography, which is a specialized type of hummingbird photography that utilizes synchronized flashes to stop a hummingbird's wings. You know, people get beautiful pictures doing that, but that's just not my thing. I want to go out into the wild and find the hummingbirds and photograph them in their natural environment. So the only tour that I found like this was one put on by Beaks and Peaks Birding and Adventure Tours in Honduras. I was a little nervous about Honduras because Honduras, undeservedly, let me tell you, has a bad reputation. And I do know somebody who lives in Southern California who had been there photographing hummingbirds a couple of times, and he told me it was perfectly safe. Just don't believe all the stuff that you read. So I thought, okay, on that recommendation, off I was to Honduras. William Orellana from Beaks and Peaks picked me up at the airport, and we were off to the Las Gloriales Inn. This is William Orellana, my guide for the next, 12 days, who's going to show us all the hummingbirds in
I will try.
Honduras.
That's the idea.
The Las Gloriales Inn is outside of Tegucigalpa, and it's pretty famous in the area for wedding receptions. They've got a little banquet hall there, and they cook all the food on an outdoor stove with a wood fire. It's just incredible. The food is delicious. The room that I had was adorable, and there was such a beautiful view from outside the room. This is where I saw my first hummingbird that does not come into the United States, and that was a little azure-crowned hummingbird that came and fed on the shrimp plants that were planted on the property. Now, the azure-crowned is a gorgeous hummingbird. He's got a blue head, a little bit of aqua in the back of the neck, little green further down, a little bit of brown above the tail, with white on the throat. Oh God, such a gorgeous little bird, and it was so exciting for me to see it. Now, the plan was to stay in Las Gloriales Inn for a couple of nights, and in the morning we were going to head off to La Tigra National Park. That is where we were going to look for a very important hummingbird, the green-breasted mountain-gem. Now, this hummingbird is important because it's a near endemic in Honduras. You can only see it in Honduras and in a very, very tiny portion of Nicaragua. So it was very important to find this bird. The next day we were off to the Las Moras section of Montaigne Diaz, where we met up with John Van Dort. Now, John is the #1 birder in Honduras. He's a huge contributor to eBird and the Macaulay Library at the Cornell University for the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. Getting to meet John was great. We took a hike in the area. I photographed a female white-eared hummingbird, but the one bird that we were looking for was a slender sheartail. We did find a male, but he was so far off, I didn't really get a good picture of him, and I'm not counting this bird. I will run into this bird again, and I will count him when I get a good photograph of it. But I'm showing you a photograph here of one that William got through his spotting scope, because the spotting scope has a much further range than my camera lens did. So it's a beautiful bird, and I know I can reliably find it in Guatemala. I'll have to go there to get some good photographs of it. But spending the day with John was fantastic. After we left John, we went to the airport to pick up Jenny Gruhl, who is a wildlife photographer, and her outfit is called Mythic Hippo Photography. Jenny would be spending the next couple days with us. The next day, William took Jenny and I out to Julio Boos' house. He has set up a private reserve on his own grounds where he attracts probably as many hummingbirds as I attract here in Studio City.
Here with Carole shooting hummingbirds at Reserva El Consejero, Honduras. Many species, as you can see. Are you having fun?
Oh, I'm having the time of my life. This is great. This is absolutely a wonderful place. If you get to Honduras, you have to come here. It's very close to La Esperanza, and he has set up an amazing retreat for hummingbirds. We spent the whole day there filming his birds. I got some great pictures of the Azure-crowns because he had a lot of Azure-crowns there. Also the white-eared, and I got great pictures of the male white-eared hummingbird this time. He also has some rivoles, which I photographed in Arizona, but another new bird, a gloriously beautiful bird, was the Mexican Violetear. I had never seen a hummingbird like this before. Brilliant aqua with blue on his belly. The little ears that when he gets, they're like purple feathers here. And when they get mad, they flare them out so they look like ears. Now, the Mexican Violetear was also recently split. You had the green Violetear, but the taxonomy people separated those into the northern one, which is the Mexican Violetear, and the southern one, which is now the lesser Violetear. Habitat conservation is really number one in Julio's mind. He has this beautiful area with all the hummingbird feeders, and the kids, the school children from the area come to see it, and they want to learn how to hang their own feeders and appreciate the hummingbirds, which is fantastic. The other thing Julio does is he makes a lot of his own hummingbird feeders out of chili bottles. Now, people send him hummingbird feeders, but it seems like the hummingbirds prefer his own handmade ones. He gets these little chili bottles and he drills a hole in them. They're plastic, and he gets coffee stirrers and he glues the coffee stirrers to make little feeding ports. I mean, they're just adorable, and the hummingbirds love them. Be sure you subscribe and hit that bell so you'll be notified of next Sunday's video, which is going to take us to Gracias Lempira and to the Panicam Lodge in Honduras. The Panicam Lodge, I got to photograph the unbelievably beautiful violet saberwing. See you next Sunday.